Israel has gone to the polls for the fourth time in 2 years. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces a tough re-election battle. While the incumbent Prime Minister remains ahead in the polls, the Likud party is uncertain of clinching a governing majority. Israelis have started to vote, with the nation still divided over whether Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will remain in power. Former Defense Minister and religious nationalist Naftali Bennett arrived with his wife at a polling station in Ra'anana, and this to cast their votes. 6.5 million registered voters will be deciding the fate of the nation. The main contenders for the March 23rd elections are Israel's longest-running Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Blue and White Centrist Alliance leader Benny Gantz, Likud defector Gideon Sa'ar, who broke with Netanyahu to form his own New Hope party, and Yesh Atid, the leader of Yair Lapid. Netanyahu has turned Israel's world-leading rollout of vaccines into a showcase of his campaign. While the Likud leader was banking on it to be enough to help him sail through, just a day before the elections, he was seen rallying supporters as he visited Jerusalem's Mahane Yehuda market.
I'm happy to be here with you. I ask you, do you want another election? Do you want a Likud government?
Former senior IDF military intelligence officer and West Asia analyst Dr. Mordecai Kedar is live with us from Jerusalem. For more on this, thank you for being with us on this broadcast. Now, this is the fourth election in 2 years. What can we expect, and what can you tell us about public sentiment?
Well, the elections will be decided by a sliver of people who might tip the equation either to the side of Netanyahu or the other side. This is why, by the way, the polls cannot really predict what really will happen, because the Israeli society is divided half by half about Netanyahu personally and about his policies. And therefore, it is very hard to predict what will happen. And those who are leaning to the right side hope that Netanyahu will win or will be able to shape a government or a coalition government, while those who oppose him want him to fail.
Right, and of the main contenders, who do you think is Prime Minister Netanyahu's biggest competition in these polls?
It is Lapid, because both people have big enough parties in order to attract other parties to join them and to shape a coalition. Yet, the majority of the people lean to the right. Therefore, Netanyahu has more chances to have a coalition. But the problem is that many people in the right do not want Netanyahu personally. They want policies to the right, but not Netanyahu personally. And start.
Right. Now, Netanyahu has been counting on his very successful vaccination campaign to propel him to a victory. However, we saw yesterday people out on the streets protesting against his policies. How do you assess that?
No. The policies of the state definitely lead to the right. And Netanyahu definitely represents the right in his decisions. Yet, the debate is about him personally.
Right. And then, as we have mentioned, we touched on it, the polls predict that Israel's elections are heading towards somewhat of a deadlock. What can you tell us about that? And what happens if, in fact, that is the case again this time? We know the previous coalition didn't work.
We will go to another elections, hoping that the other elections and the fifth round within 2 years will lead us out from this deadlock. This is the democracy.
Right. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Mordecai Kedar, with all the latest on the Israeli elections. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.